Hey everyone, this is Rihanna from A Frugal Life, and today I'm talking about how your teenagers can make money, both online and off. So right now we're in the middle of a pandemic, so it's hard for even adults to get jobs or make money. But there's teenagers out there still wanting to make money either for pocket money or to help support your families. You would be surprised at how many teenagers actually contribute their money to family finances, especially now when adults are out of work. So I personally started working as a teenager when I was 14 years old, as a teenager part-time from 14 to 17, and then I started working full-time when I was 17 years old, and I have been working full-time ever since. So I know what it's like to be a teenager looking for ways to make money. The problem is that there are some things that only adults can do, either because companies are only looking to hire adults, even though teenagers work just as hard as adults sometimes. And there's also things that teenagers can't do just because you have to be a certain age to do certain jobs. So I'm going to give you 15 ways in this video that your teenagers can make money, both online and off. Stay tuned to the very end. I have lots of ideas. If one idea doesn't work, another one probably will, or these ideas may lead you to ideas of your own. So if you do get ideas during this video of ways that teenagers can make money, or if you have a really great idea, be sure and put it in the comment box down below. The first idea I have is washing windows, and I'm not talking about getting up on a high window on a corporate building. I'm talking about more residential and small business windows. So my family actually owns a small business. My mom owns a bar, so I'm used to the small business mentality of hiring people local to do your work. I also know that, myself included, people don't like to wash windows. And if you don't have a housekeeper washing your windows for you, you are stuck with that job. And that's something that you want to do every few months, or some people just wait and do it once a year. But it's something nobody wants to do. So if you have a teenager in the neighborhood willing to do it, you're definitely probably going to pay them to do it. So if you're a teenager, the investment is small. You need to get a bucket and some water and some good window cleaner, maybe some spray bottles and some rag and some squeegees. You want to make sure you do a really good job. I would suggest doing a job for a friend, a family member first, and getting some testimonials. And then you can post an ad on Craigslist or nowadays Facebook Marketplace telling people that you're willing to do it. So post it in local Facebook groups as long as you can get to the location. Either you drive yourself or a friend or family member or a parent can drive you, then you can do it. There's no age requirement on washing windows, and it's definitely a need that people don't want to do themselves. So you can charge per window, per home, or per hour, whatever you like. Just make sure it's competitive in the marketplace. Call around and see what other people are charging. And because you're a teenager, maybe undercut them a little and charge a little less until you have a big clientele. Once you start doing it, people love your work. They're going to call you back every time they need their windows washed. And it's an easy job for you to do to make a little money on the side. The next idea works for adults too. It's something that people are doing all over the place nowadays, but is flipping items on Facebook Marketplace. So I know of a teen that flips sneakers, buying them when they first come out and then flipping them on Facebook Marketplace for a higher price because they're really in high demand. These are sneakers like Jordan and Nikes and things that come out in limited edition. But you don't have to invest a lot in this. You can go to thrift stores and purchase clothes and turn them into cosplay costumes and flip them. You can purchase books and flip them on different sites, especially on Facebook Marketplace. Facebook Marketplace is a great thing that has no age requirement, and if you are savvy on the trends, you can purchase things and then flip them by selling them on Facebook Marketplace. And the great thing about Facebook Marketplace is you can make people come to your house or your location to pick up, so there's no shipping involved. Although I do offer my Facebook Marketplace items for shipping as well, because you do have a wider base. If you are able to ship items, they're small items and shippable, you'll get a lot more sales. So flipping items on Facebook Marketplace is something anybody of any age can do. So this next one is hopefully a totally unique one, and that maybe something you haven't thought about is setting up phones, tablets, or computers for the elderly or non-computer savvy person. So I know a lot of people in my mom's age group, for instance, who don't know how to set up their own computer. So if they get a new tablet, they need it set up with their email, their Wi-Fi, their apps that they like to play. They need all their favorite banking apps and useful things that they need to put on their phone that they don't know how to do. So if you're willing to set things up for them and to teach them how to do it, then you can make quite a bit of money by just charging them every time you come over to help them. Charging them $15 to $20 an hour. It is totally worth it for somebody to have somebody come teach them those things, and it is something that they need. So this one is going to be a great one to do word of mouth. So if you can get your parents' friends or your grandparents' friends in on the deal, if they can spread the word that you're willing to do this, they will often even come pick you up if you don't drive, to come over to their house, talk to them for for a little while, set up all of their apps, set up their computer, set up their tablet, or if they're having problems with doing things like printing or doing their online banking, they'll have you help them with that as well. So if you don't have a grandparent or parent willing to spread the word for you, this is also something you can post in local Facebook groups that you're willing to do for people that are not so tech savvy. So just make a list of things that you know how to do. Even the smallest things are not too small because there are people that don't know how to do them. So put everything down, from setting up Google apps to setting up games on your phone to setting up your email redirects. Anything that you know how to do and are willing to share the information on, people are willing to pay for. So put that down on your online resume as something you can do in the future to make a little money. So this next one is not super fast cash, but it could be super high in cash, and that is creating your own blog or YouTube channel. So there are tons, if not thousands, of teenagers online making money on YouTube. So the biggest thing you have to do is set up your channel and start filming, and you can start filming as little as on an iPhone. Make sure that you have your parents' permission to post, but then start posting away. Make sure that you keep the safety requirements in mind by not posting your exact location and never sharing your personal information with people. But people, especially teenage age, like to watch other teenagers on YouTube. So you do need to get up to 4,000 watch hours and 1,000 subscribers. But I know lots of teenagers on YouTube have gotten to that point very quickly. So if you're willing to put yourself out there like this, then go ahead and start your own YouTube channel on something that you love to do, or just vlogging your days away. So next is selling books online. So not exactly on Facebook Marketplace, but there are other sites you can sell on, like Ziffit and Campus Book Rentals and SCHWAB if you're doing textbooks, but even just selling regular novels that you pick up at the thrift store or garage sale. So if you get the scanner app on your phone for something like Ziffit, I will put the link up above and down below. You can scan books when you go out to garage sales and thrift stores and see if they're worth anything. If you are, pick them up for 25 cents and then resell them on these sites for $1 or more. So it's not a whole lot at once, but if you really get some volume up there, you can make a decent living at it. So selling books on Ziffit is a great way to make money as a teenager. So how about selling printables on Etsy? You can sell homemade goods if you're crafty on Etsy, but the best thing to do is to sell printables because there's no overhead. So all you need is a free program like Canva, or you can pay the low monthly fee for the premium version, and you can make your own printable cards, funny signs, printable stickers, all sorts of different printables on Etsy, and sell them to people for $1 to $10 or more, and all you have to do is pay for the low listing fee of 20 cents on Etsy and then the percentage. So there's really no investment to this one. So if you don't know how to get started on making these things, there's tons and tons of tutorials online. One of them I have myself. I will put a link up above to that tutorial, maybe up above over here, to that tutorial on how to make birthday cards, which you can then sell on Etsy. But you can also make all sorts of printables and then sell them on Etsy. And if you use social media to promote your Etsy site, you'll get even more sales. The next I'm going to talk about is something that I do regularly, but is also great for teenagers, and that is pet sitting. So I do mine via Rover, but there's also Care and Wolf and other sites where you can actually list yourself as a pet sitter. You may need to be 18 or over on some of these, so make sure that you get your parents' permission. They may need to list under their name, but you can also list your services on Facebook Marketplace and on Facebook ads and groups like that in your local community, even on Nextdoor. So make sure that you tell people that you're a teenager, but that you're responsible. If you can get some friends or family members to let you sit first and get some testimonials. People love a good, reliable pet sitter, especially someone who's willing to walk dogs or sit and play with the dogs for a long amount of time, which people like me who are a little bit older don't always have the time or the strength or the energy to do. So this is fantastic for teenagers. Walking dogs is a great deal. You can make $15 to $20 an hour or more walking dogs, especially if you live in the big city. So pet sitting and dog walking is a fantastic way to make some extra money. The next, and I'm sure you've heard of it and maybe even used it, is Fiverr. But what you don't know is that you can make money on Fiverr even if you're a teenager. If you need a parent to sign up for you, if you're too young, go ahead and have them do that, but you can do all the work and make all the money as long as your parent is willing to sign for you. You know, if you've been to Fiverr, that there are so many things you can do, and Fiverr is a little bit misleading in that it says Fiverr. I mean, $5 is how they started out, but people are making way more than that. You can make bank on Fiverr if you have any sort of skill. So you can make printables on Fiverr, like I talked about. You can make printables for other people, for them to sell. You can make Tshirt designs. You can help them with their websites. You can make great videos for them to post online if you have any experience or want to look up how to make videos. So there are dozens and not hundreds, if not thousands of different things you can do to make money on Fiverr. And it's great because they do all the promotion for you. You just have to get your gigs up there and get good reviews as you start out. So Fiverr is a fantastic way to make some money online. The next one is going to actually be easy to get into, and that is tutoring younger kids. As long as you have good grades, or you at least have good grades in younger kids subjects, then you can tutor younger kids in things like languages, math, English, help them with essays. And people love to hire teenage tutors for their kids because their kids look up to them and are more willing to listen to them than they may be to adults. So the best way to get in this is to talk to your teacher and tell them you're interested in tutoring. A lot of teachers have connections with other teachers for lower grades, and they're willing to put a word in for you if you're a great student with those teachers for lower grades and have them promote you as a tutor to their students. You can also, of course, post it online, but getting a recommendation from your own teacher is a fantastic way to get into it quickly and get a recommendation and a testimonial that will allow parents to feel comfortable hiring you. So you can hire yourself out at $15 to $20 or more an hour depending on the subject and the grade of student that you're teaching. If you can tutor kids in things like SAT prep, you can hire yourself out for even more. So get good grades yourself, get in with your teacher and get yourself hired as a tutor for younger kids. The next one is a little bit of manual labor, but anybody can do it if they just get up the energy to do it and start working on it, is to wash cars if you're in the summer or in a location that it's warm enough, or to shovel snow if you live in the snow. So if you just go door to door, you can offer your services to your neighbors. You can post on Nextdoor and on Facebook, but advertising to your local neighbors is the best bet to start out with, because if it's in walking distance, you don't have to get anybody to drive there, or you don't have to waste any gas driving there. So you can offer to wash all of your neighbors' cars for a set amount, like $10 to $20. Most people will take you up on the offer to support a local teenager, and because they don't have to go out during COVID, so if you can just come to their house, you can wash their car, never have to contact them and have them Venmo you, PayPal, or leave the money in the mailbox. So it's a great contactless way to make some money during COVID. And then after that, you'll have a long list of clientele that are willing to hire you out over and over again to wash their cars or shovel their driveways from snow. So the next one is not a side business or a side hustle. It is actually to get a job. And just because you are a teenager does not mean that you can't get a job. So I spoke earlier about how I had a job at 14 years old. This was a little bit way back when. My mom did have to drive me to the job, or I took the bus because I was in a city that had public transportation at the time. So I got myself to that job every day after school and every day on the weekends. I worked 20 to 25 hours a week, and I had to work around my school schedule and around the hours I was allowed to work. So as a teenager in some states, you're only allowed to work certain hours. You can only work for a certain length, and you can't work past a certain time. Like you can't work past midnight on school nights or things like that. People who hire retail know this. The managers will know that they have to hire you for a certain amount of time, and they will ask you for a work permit. You usually have to get through your school. The work permit is free. You can usually get it through the administrative office. But go to your school counselor and ask them about getting a work permit, or if you need a work permit. As soon as you have it, then go out to your local mall and start putting out applications. Working retail is a great way to get job experience, to get yourself a resume before you graduate high school. And you can even do things like working in a restaurant to build your skills there, or working in fast food if you are interested in food. So I never worked in fast food. I only worked for a restaurant for a few days. I did start out in retail, but that got me into the customer service world, where I built myself up the ladder from there to different jobs and into an office. So just because you start out in retail does not mean you have to stay there forever. And it is a great job to start out as a teenager. So this is something my husband actually did as a teenager, and that is to apprentice with a family member in a family business. So he had an uncle who did construction. So he actually apprenticed with his uncle as a 16-year-old in his family business, and he learned the construction trade, which he uses those skills now 30 years later. So if you can learn skills like that early on, you have a great in on getting a really great paid job later on down the line. But if you can get a family member to hire you in on a skill skilled trade like that, it is amazing on your resume later on down the line, and you'll make great memories learning some new skills. So things like construction, things like housekeeping, if your family owns a restaurant, don't be afraid to ask your family to help you out and give you a job in those things, and work just as hard as for them as you would for a regular employee, so you can get great references from your coworkers down the line as well. So the next one is not really for city folk, but out here where I live in the country, it is big, and that is to cut and stack firewood. So if you don't have the transportation yourself, or a truck, or a source for firewood, you may have to get in with somebody who already does this. But stacking the firewood is very labor intensive. People that purchase firewood in a cord or half cord don't like to have to stack themselves, and the people that have the source for the wood and have the pickup don't always like to do the stacking themselves either, because it is a lot of work, but it is good pay. So if you can get in with somebody that does firewood and offer to be a stacker, they can drive you around and you can unload and unstack the trucks. So a lot of the times when I hire people to bring out firewood, they have a teenager with them stacking the firewood. So that is a fantastic job to get into. The next one is a super fun one if you're a dramatic person, if you like drama or plays or costumes or anything like that, and that is to be a costumed entertainer. So lots of party places will hire teenagers as costume entertainers. They often go out in groups, so you don't always have to drive or know how to drive yourself. You can go with a partner, and you can dress up as a fairy, a costume Barney, a costume rabbit, all sorts of different things. You can also apprentice with them and learn things like face painting and balloon twisting that is great at parties down the line, but you can actually get tips from doing this as well. So people make really great money as costume entertainers because you get the hourly and then you also get tips. You typically get birthday cake and maybe a meal on your way out as well, and then just the fun of entertaining children. So teenage costume characters is a great deal. You can also bring that into a skill later on down the line and work at a theme park while they will give you more money per hour, although you don't usually get tipped at that one. So birthday parties are kind of the way to go. The last one is one more online one, and that is making your own t-shirt designs online. So the only thing you have to do with selling t-shirts online is to come up with the design. Then you can go on to places like Teespring and Redbubble, post the design, sell the design. All you do is collect the money. It's kind of a passive income after you make the design. You have to promote it, maybe, unless you have a really intense, hilarious idea. So if you're a person that spots trends early and can make funny sayings on a t-shirt, you can make bank. There is a t-shirt Ted, I forget her exact name, I'll put her link down below, has become a millionaire online before she was 20 doing this. So this is a great one if you have some artistic talent on the graphic design side and you can post funny things on t-shirts. So I will post her link down below. You can get exact details on how to do it, but you can make big bank selling t-shirts online and there's no investment upfront. So that is it for this video. Sorry if I'm a little bit weird today. I have a headache, so I've done this entire thing with a splitting headache. If you like that I did this with a headache and you want to give me a like down below, please do so, and please subscribe and hit the notification bell so we can talk soon.